Healthy Rebel Radio is sponsored by the Healthy Rebel app. 300 plus secretly healthy, delicious, mouth-watering dessert and treat recipes made with all-natural, whole food ingredients. Now available for download on the App Store and Google Play. Find out more details at healthyrebel.com.
Welcome to Healthy Rebel Radio. I'm your host, Dr. David Deiser. I'm here with my Dami Health Healthy Rebel co-founder, Amy Lang. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's start by talking about running. In the news today, New York Times is posting about running injuries and how popular they are. I want to jump right into this because they're reporting about some studies in the British Journal of Sports Medicine about preventing running injuries. But it's just something I see in my practice so much. Mm-hmm. And I know you've got some things to say about it, but we hear it all the time when we're walking. We hear these pressure or high impact runners doing extremely long distances, and then people are wondering why they have ankle, knee, and hip injuries.
Mm-hmm. You can spot it.
Yeah, you really can.
When it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And I used to be that guy. I've got a heavy foot too.
Yes.
I used to be that guy.
You know, I don't think running's evil, and especially if you love it and it's a mental therapy for you. But I don't think it's something you should do every single day.
Yeah. Especially
if your body's saying, "Whoa,
right.
I'm not really down with this."
Yeah, if you're getting symptoms, for sure.
If you're getting aches, pains, injuries, you know, it's just not worth it. It's not worth, you know, being a 50-year-old person with a knee that you no longer can put pressure on, period, because you want to run every day in your 20s or 30s.
Right, and you were extremely healthy, and you're doing all these like so many miles.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, there's people that just, you know, it's one thing to like train for a half marathon or a marathon as like a challenge, but I mean, we've seen multiple times people that are running like half marathons a day for years in a row, and then the burnout and the things that happen. Yeah,
the burnout is common.
Common, and then injury. You know.
Well, and you're not healing as much because you have your hormones are burnt out because of such a huge stress on the body.
For sure. And then there's going to be people that are super healthy, that are runners, that have never had injury, that do the proper...
Well, yeah, and that's what this study found, that certain runners can go their entire life and have no injury.
So I think it's one of those things where you have to be honest with yourself and clear about your body and what you can and can't do. And it doesn't mean you have to sit on the couch if you're not running.
No.
You know, I like to shake up, you know, jogging, sprinting, hiking, and speed walking. You know, hills are awesome. Sprints, obviously, I love that. Any type of interval training. Hiking, like mountains or hills.
For sure.
I mean, before I didn't have access to mountain hiking, so I used to literally go to a local hill at a park.
Yeah.
And I would do the hill.
Just up and down the hill. Yeah.
And it works. Like
it's really
and
effective.
It's easier on your joints, and there's the longevity factor there because it's, you know, we want to be healthy, we want to reach our goals, we want to be mentally healthy. We want to be at a certain body weight that feels good, but we also want to be healthy long term. I don't want people, you know, sacrificing their long term health to be skinny.
No.
You know, again, that doesn't jive with me.
Right.
I like overall health goals.
Exactly.
I like feeling good your whole life.
Yeah.
You know, but again, there's people that can. So it's about knowing your body. If you start running and you're having injuries, maybe it's not right for you.
Yes, or as well as you should do the things that have been shown to actually reduce your impact.
Yeah, maybe you want to talk about that.
So what I see most is people with high impact, who are high impactors, is rigid feet, rigid arches, or absolute lack of arch. You can have a high impact as well. So this study was looking at testing people's impact over for 250 people. So it was really interesting to see because the people with very few injuries over the course of their lifetime who were avid runners had a very, very light impact. And the people with more injuries obviously had a heavier impact.
And we see that all the time.
Definitely. So where I normally start with is the feet. What are your arches like? Are they a normal arch with a nice cushion where you've got a little bit of flexibility, or is it really rigid with a really high arch that's non-movable? You've got one of these.
Yeah.
Yeah, your heel strikes can be heavy sometimes.
Yeah, my family says it all the time.
Definitely.
That I'm a very light person, but they can't believe how loud my...
Exactly, yeah.
That's why I wear slippers in the house.
Right. Or do you have flat feet where you're getting this high impact because a lot of surface area is hitting the ground at once? So the solution, if you're in the high arch or if you're in the flat foot arena, is orthotics.
Can you wear orthotics for...
Definitely.
running?
There's definitely some really great sport orthotics out there. And they give you a nice cushion. Well, depending on what you need. If you need a more rigid arch, you can get the sport orthotics that are a little sturdier. But if you need some cushion to take some of that impact off your high arch, you can get a nice sport orthotic that matches your foot. So that's one thing.
How do you feel about people that are classified, say, obese or have a lot of weight to lose, starting out with running or jogging?
Well, you're definitely putting a lot more pressure, a lot more pounds of pressure on the hips, knees, and ankles. And we see that mainly with meniscus injuries in the knees.
Right.
We see this medial joint line pain that can turn into a wearing down of the cartilage, and it can be a whole host of other problems.
And that's why a lot of the times I set the goal, if we have a large amount of weight, if we have 50 or more pounds to lose usually, I will heavily state, let's focus on eating on plan, water, sleep, and walking every day.
Absolutely.
And that's where we start, and that's where we stay for a while. Until we need to maybe up that intensity or that urge that you really want to be, a runner or a jogger.
Exactly.
But I don't think you have to literally burst out of the gate running.
No, you don't.
On a health and wellness plan or to lose weight.
I agree. I'm a huge fan of low impact exercise.
Me too.
But I also want people to be breaking a sweat.
Oh, 100%.
This is the key.
And there's some people out there that don't feel like they're working out unless it's a really intense. So I'm not discouraging that at all.
No.
I mean, I know myself. I will do lots of low impact workouts, and then sometimes I'll be on a trail where I'll just take off running and I won't stop because I just need it.
This is gypsy unicorn run.
That's right.
Yeah, all the sudden.
If you ever see it in the woods, it's very magical.
Oh, definitely.
Dave laughs the whole time. But yeah, I get it. I mean, we all crave that.
But it's easy to break a sweat on the bike or on the elliptical. Or
Hills.
Hills are great.
If you really get it, but it's also what you put into it. I've said this before, I can go out there right now and lift weights and do nothing.
Yes.
I cannot be sore. I can feel like nothing's happened. I cannot break a sweat. Just, Gumby, just elastic, just whatever.
Yeah.
But I can also lift the same weights, do the exact same exercises, and use my mind, muscle connection, focus, have good posture, hold my abs in, do the whole thing, and have a killer workout. It's often what you bring to a workout. People will say, like, look at a workout and say, this is easy, or this isn't working, or I'm not, whatever. Well, what are you bringing to it?
Right.
And this is where the accountability and the self-accountability has to come in.
Yeah.
We have to be a little firmer with ourselves.
Oh, absolutely.
And not from a negative place, from a place of, like, deep love. Like, when your mother, or you see that mother figure that loves that child and makes that child do what's right because the child can't choose it.
Yes.
That's what your higher self has to be for your own self all the time.
For sure. That's what it's there for.
We all have to do it. But,
Definitely. There's another aspect of this that people have found beneficial, and this is what they recommend after the study, is that you think about striking lightly. If you consciously focus on a light strike.
It's the same principle as the muscle-mind connection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I believe that.
They were doing this on a, I don't know what type of machine it was, but they were probably a treadmill that tracks
impact.
That tracks impact, exactly. And when you think about striking lighter, you can have a better chance of striking lighter. So that's helpful. But also, if you know you're a heel striker and if you know you've got heavy feet, then you have to try and move your strike to a little bit closer to the ball of the foot.
That being said, I just want to say that I was in complete denial about my heel issues.
Okay.
And my family has always said, because we always had upstairs and downstairs, they always would laugh and just say, we don't know how such a light person sounds like an elephant. And like it was a joke in my family, and I'd be like, whatever.
Okay, right.
They don't know what they're talking about. And until you started monitoring how I was jogging, and you're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Your heels are I was in complete denial. So unless I had a professional like you saying, so I mean, I think if you're having I had sore feet. If I had gone to a naturopath or someone that specializes in this, and they checked my gait analysis and the whole thing, then I would have been on a better path. But sometimes we need outside sources to look. I was in complete denial. I'm still kind of in denial about it. I'm like, okay, everyone says this about me, but...
I think this came up for us when we were doing the intense training, I don't know, 8 years ago. Or
half marathon.
The half marathon for sure. And you were complaining of the knee twinge, is what it was called.
Yes.
The knee twinge.
Yes, I have a knee twinge.
The knee twinge.
I don't have a knee twinge anymore.
Well, no, because we did the gait analysis and we realized that the running wasn't exactly a good fit for you. So yeah, you have to figure it out for yourself. But having professional opinion makes it easier.
Definitely, if you know there's something going on.
So, checking your arches, focusing on having a light step, and then also moving your strike to a little bit closer to the ball of the foot instead of a heel strike if you know you're a heavy striker. Those things can be helpful. Story number 2 is about constipation.
Oh.
Well, this is an important topic.
It is.
It really is. And the reason it came up today is because someone did an editorial in the New York Times about simple things that they have used in their past to avoid being constipated. And the reason it's interesting is because they pull up in the first few paragraphs some of the information about what it means to be constipated. And the actual medical definition is having 3 or fewer bowel movements per week, per 7 days.
So many people fall under that category.
Oh, so many.
I think people don't think they're constipated because they envision constipation like those commercials where people are like, oh, and like can't use the washroom and are like, it's this thing that they can't use the washroom for like long periods of time. It can be something that is quote unquote normal for you.
Yeah.
Using the bathroom 3 or less times per week.
Yeah.
That's normal for a lot of people.
I've seen it many, many times.
It's scary.
Many times. It is, yeah. And you get in a pattern and it most people say, oh, this has been since I was young. And so the article goes on to talk about how the theory of auto-intoxication is false and there's no research to back it up. And what that means is something that is promoted by most people in integrative medicine is that you should be having a bowel movement every day. And with the theory being that if you have stool sitting in your digestive tract, there's going to be some absorption of material from the stool that is sitting there. It should be cleared out. You should be detoxing. Now, it's not really scientifically proven, but we know that from many, 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 many case studies, when you have a bowel movement every day, you just feel better in general.
100%.
So I still like to promote it, and it's so helpful for all the detox systems to be doing that.
There's a definite energy difference when you use the bathroom every day compared to when you don't.
Oh my gosh, for sure. And there's when you're not used to doing it and then you start doing it, you realize, oh yeah, I'm not supposed to have stomach pain every day. I'm not supposed to feel bloated all the time.
Yeah, your stomach's not supposed to be bloated and hard as a rock and uncomfortable. And
you're right, it becomes the norm.
Right. There's so many people that are uncomfortable, but they've felt that way for so long that they start to think that that's their normal. That's their base. And it's really sad. Because you can feel so much better. And sometimes you don't even know that you feel bad until you feel better, and then you reflect on that and you're like, wow, I was in a fog.
This is the same thing about PMS. Oh, yeah. PMS? Yeah, I have that. All the time. It's awful.
Yeah, everybody does.
But everyone has it.
Everyone does. It's in every movie. It's the punchline of every whatever. It's completely normal. But then you talk to someone like you and you're like, well,
no, not really. Yeah,
normal
you don't have to be dealing with it.
You don't have to be miserable.
No, you don't.
Like, that's the thing, that just because something's an average, that then we call it a normal, it doesn't mean it's good.
No, exactly.
There are solutions. There are pathways to feel good.
Pathways to feel optimal.
100%.
For your system.
Yeah, it's confusing that we kind of get tricked into settling, isn't it?
So I try and get people having at least one bowel movement every day. Some people do 2. That's absolutely normal. I think more than 3 is too much. And some of the things that I've used for people. And,
water, Davey?
Well, I mean, we can start with the basics. There you go, water.
One of the hot for 2016.
It hasn't been as hot as sleep, but I'll give it to you.
It's creeping up there.
So water and fiber, obviously. Diet changes are the most important when it comes to constipation and keeping the bowels moving in a healthy manner. And soluble and insoluble fiber, both important as long as you're drinking water.
Lots of water.
So what are these two types of fiber? Insoluble fiber is things like leafy greens. It's so important to get enough veggies in. I mean, if you're not getting veggies in,
I think that was number really 2 on my 2016 list.
What, fiber?
Veggies.
Veggies. Oh, there you go.
Water,
okay.
veggies.
They're all coming back.
Man, I'm hot on the trends.
For sure. And then we have soluble fiber like whole grains. Oh, so
Ground
important.
flax.
Ground flax can do wonders. 1 teaspoon per day. If you're not having a bowel movement every day, can be all you need.
Game changer.
Game changer. We use things like psyllium, which is a little more aggressive, but if you drink enough water, it can work. It really can. One product that I've had success with called NutriCleanse. It's psyllium plus a few other seeds, including ground flax. And, a little bit of that with sprinkled on your oatmeal, and then you drink a glass of water with it, and that can be enough.
Oh, yeah. I put that on my salad before.
NutriCleanse?
Yeah.
Yeah. For
it
sure,
just
why
gives
not?
kind of a nutty... I like it.
Yeah. You'd probably be in the more rare category of people who enjoy it. I would say
you know
say
what?
It's enjoyable.
You know what, though? With NutriCleanse, I should write them. I've made a really great recipe with that. I forgot completely about this. I made a vegan chocolate chip banana bread.
Okay. Did you post it?
Yeah, but I altered it the next day and made it just with ground flax because I didn't want to promote this product because I'm not affiliated with it and I didn't know if people had access to it and it was more expensive.
Absolutely.
But I did do it.
Yeah.
And I do have photos of it and I should contact them.
Nice, yeah. Why not? One of the other things we use is aloe vera. Aloe vera is excellent.
Yes, aloe vera does work, doesn't it? And it's soothing. That's what I like about aloe vera. I find it very soothing.
Yeah.
And cooling.
It's really cooling. It coats the digestive tract really quickly. You just do an ounce in the morning and it works.
I put it in a smoothie in the summer.
Yeah.
I have a great recipe we should link for my... Well, it's not really the great time of year for this, but you may want to reference it back. Is the watermelon refresher that I make in the summer. Has mint, aloe vera, watermelon. It is to die for. It is so good. And it cools you literally from the inside out when you're having...
It does. I'll link that in the show notes.
A hot day. And maybe the NutriCleanse recipe too.
NutriCleanse recipe. Okay, here we go. So yeah, those are the simple things. I mean, fiber, water, aloe vera, flax. Those are the sort of basics. Now, there's lots of really, really aggressive therapies that I just don't like using. I don't think you need to do them, and most people don't. If you're making the proper diet changes, one thing we need to talk about is, outside of whole grains and veggies, beans can be helpful. Having a really well-rounded diet where you're having nuts and seeds can be helpful. But I can't say enough about the water. It usually
all has
dehydration.
to be married with water. If you go and you have a big bean meal and then you don't drink the water, you are going to be gassy and bloated and you may not use the washroom. Yeah,
for sure. Now, there's a whole host of things that can cause constipation.
I was going to say, you know what I've seen a lot?
What's that?
And we've never talked about it, is I see a lot of people that are constipated that have had their gallbladder removed.
Yes.
Is that common?
It is. Oh, definitely. Yeah, when you have your gallbladder removed, when you eat fat, you're relying on the bile that the liver is making. So you're not storing any extra bile. So what happens is if you have a really high fat meal, then you can...
You have diarrhea?
Yeah, well, you can have diarrhea, it's possible, but you can also have constipation. It depends on how your system reacts. But if you have a really high-fat meal and you don't have enough bile made by the liver, you don't have any stored because you don't have a gallbladder. And if you don't take a bile supplement, then maybe you don't emulsify all the fat you ate. So you can have oily stool. That can happen.
Yeah, because I've heard both things.
Usually it results in diarrhea from my experience, but I have seen people with constipation who don't have a gallbladder. I think it's quite common. But it's interesting when people have their gallbladder removed, they're not instructed to maybe consider taking a bile supplement,
which is so weird.
It's weird, but yeah, we should be able to make enough bile for each meal, but that's saying that people are eating
healthy.
So, and you go and have a big greasy meal,
and that's not often even discussed.
No.
So
I've had people where I've said, do you take bile? No. Do you have a gallbladder? No. We'll start with that, and then the question is, well, do you have greasy stool? And it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. It's really oily. It's always been. Okay. So you're not breaking down your fat, and then that has a whole host of other issues where, you know, if you're not getting proper fat absorption, that can be a problem.
Right.
But yes, it's important to look at. So constipation. I wanted to go through a few foods that can cause constipation.
Sounds good.
We've seen cheese and chocolate mostly.
Everybody knows
cheese
about
and chocolate.
cheese.
They're the first ones. Oh my gosh.
I didn't know about chocolate, really.
Yeah, I mean, lots and lots of chocolate can cause it for sure, but we see cheese all the time, don't we?
Cheese is a very popular one.
What else is on the list?
And especially where we come from, the community we came from is big on cheese.
Well, I think most communities are. I mean, cheese is great. I love
but you
cheese.
don't eat cheese.
No, I don't. But I wish I did.
Yeah, well. If you didn't get so sick every time you ate it, perhaps that would be something to consider.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean,
I just remember when I was younger, I'd sit down with like half a brick of cheese and crackers and eat it. Mm-hmm. And now that seems like literally insane behavior to me. But that was normal.
Oh, definitely. I mean, that would be a daily snack for most people. So along the same lines as cheese, we found that ice cream can cause constipation as well.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. Most dairy.
Here we go. Back to dairy.
Other things on the list that you might not know about or be thinking about in your own diet is fried foods can cause constipation.
Definitely.
Red meat, cookies, unripe bananas can cause constipation for people.
I bet high, like white
rice.
Rolls.
Yes.
And no, I was thinking more rolls with like the glue. Like, you know when you eat a roll and it almost turns into dough in your mouth? Mm-hmm. Well, think what that's doing in your bowel.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, if you don't drink enough water, that's why whole grains are better, because they don't have the same changes like a white.
It almost turns to glue. Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
You can almost tell what that would do in your system.
For sure. So unripe bananas are on the list.
Unripe bananas.
Yeah, that's sort of the only one in the fruit category that people have seen. Yeah. And then chips, junk food causes constipation. That happens. And that's pretty much it. Sweet potatoes are helpful in constipation. Kiwis helpful. Berries helpful. I didn't know about kiwi. That's interesting.
I did.
Really? Mm-hmm. Well, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's happening with so many people.
Yes.
I mean, if you're not having a bowel movement every day, getting some advice or consulting with someone about some of the simple changes you can make without having to do
Or just start right away today with drinking, 2.5 liters of water and eating 2 cups of vegetables with each meal, and add in a couple servings of fruit.
Yeah.
And watch your life change.
Watch and see what happens.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Commit to that.
Exactly. That's our show for today. Thank you so much for listening. This is Healthy Rebel Radio, episode 27. Have a great day.
See you.
Healthy Rebel Radio is presented by the online health and wellness center, DamiHealth.com. Since 2009, Amy Lane has successfully coached thousands of women through her signature program, the Bikini Body Program. Join today to work exclusively with Amy to unveil your greatest yet to be from the inside out. Go to DamiHealth.com for more information.
Thank you for listening to Healthy Rebel Radio. Please connect with us on our community pages on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram, all at the handle @DamiHealth. For weekly recipes, articles, and all our episodes straight to your inbox, join our newsletter at damihealth.com. You can find all the links discussed in today's episode in the show notes. Thank you for joining us, and see you tomorrow.